Snow cut through torn boots. A young U.S. soldier held his rifle tight, staring as waves of Chinese troops poured down the mountains. In that moment, victory turned into survival. If the strongest nation in the world couldn't win, what did war really mean? Don't just watch, like the video, and join the vault. Tap subscribe and step inside the story. The Korean War wasn't supposed to last long. In June 1950, North Korea stormed across the border, forcing South Korea and its allies back. The United States stepped in, not only to defend a nation, but to prove its power in the early Cold War. At first, the U.S. barely held on. Supplies were thin, morale was low, but MacArthur's bold landing at Incheon flipped the war. Seoul was retaken, and therefore American forces pushed north, chasing what looked like certain victory. By autumn, hope soared. Newspapers promised the war would end by Christmas. Families believed their sons would soon come home. But across the Yalu River, China watched closely. To them, U.S. troops at their border were a direct threat. In the freezing dark of November, hundreds of thousands of Chinese soldiers crossed the mountains. The sudden assault stunned American forces. Battles like the Chosin Reservoir turned into brutal tests of endurance, where soldiers fought not just the enemy, but the biting cold. Here's my question for you. If you were in charge, would you have stopped at the border or risked pushing further? Share your answer in the comments. I want to see your thoughts. Therefore, what began as a defense of South Korea turned into a grinding stalemate. Seoul changed hands 4 times. Trenches carved into hills turned into frozen prisons. Soldiers no longer dreamed of glory, only of survival. The war dragged on for 3 years, costing over 36,000 American lives, millions of Korean and Chinese lives, and it ended with no clear winner. Some call it the Forgotten War. But for the men in the trenches, for families waiting by the radio, and for leaders forced to balance war and diplomacy, it was unforgettable. It proved that America could be powerful, yet still limited in a world divided by ideology. We called it a stalemate. We planted flags on frozen ground. The cost told another story. So tell me, was Korea a victory, a defeat, or America's first hard lesson in limits?